There is an island in the Pacific. It sits just 180 kilometers from China. Its population is only 23 million people. Yet inside this island are factories unlike anywhere else. Factories that manufacture the most advanced computer chips on Earth. Not slightly more advanced. Generations ahead. Inside massive clean rooms, machines costing hundreds of millions of dollars carve circuits smaller than viruses. 3 nanometers. Soon 2. Then even smaller. These chips power nearly everything. Smartphones, laptops, AI servers, military systems, satellites, even modern cars. But the real story is not the technology. It's the concentration. Because one company produces most of them, and it builds them almost entirely in one place. Taiwan. But something about this system is dangerously fragile, and the vulnerability is hiding in plain sight. At the center of this system is a single company. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. TSMC is not a typical tech company. It doesn't design chips. It manufactures them. And it manufactures them for almost everyone. Apple, Nvidia, AMD, Qualcomm. Even companies building military systems depend on these factories. But here is the uncomfortable reality. TSMC produces over 90% of the world's most advanced chips. Not 50%, not 60%, more than 90. But the deeper problem is location. Because most of that production happens in one place, Taiwan. But the real risk is not obvious. Because the supply chain doesn't start there. And it definitely doesn't end there. Making an advanced chip requires a global network. Design often begins in the United States. Companies like Nvidia and Apple design the architecture, but the designs cannot be manufactured without extreme precision equipment. That equipment comes from only a few companies. One of them is the Dutch giant, ASML. ASML builds the most complex machine ever created. Extreme ultraviolet lithography. Each machine costs roughly $200 million. It uses lasers that fire 50,000 times per second, inside a vacuum, using mirrors polished smoother than anything ever made. But that machine alone isn't enough. The supply chain stretches across continents. Ultra-pure silicon wafers from Japan, chemicals from Germany, precision optics from Europe, manufacturing software from America. Every step is essential. But something about this system makes it extremely dangerous. Because almost all of it converges in one location, Taiwan. And that creates a global dependency few people fully understand. Modern civilization quietly runs on semiconductors. Phones need them. Data centers need them. Cars now use thousands of them. Even refrigerators contain processors. But the systems that depend on these chips are far larger. Air traffic control, electric grids, military command networks, satellite communications, artificial intelligence. Without advanced chips, none of these systems scale. But the world's ability to produce them is extremely concentrated. And the factories producing them sit in one of the most politically sensitive regions on Earth. Because Taiwan is not just an island. It's a geopolitical flashpoint. China considers Taiwan part of its territory. Taiwan operates as an independent democracy. The United States supports Taiwan militarily, and tensions in the region continue to rise. But the real danger is not a war. The real danger is what happens to the global system if those factories stop, even temporarily. Imagine something happens. It could be a blockade, a cyber attack, a power grid failure, or even an earthquake. Suddenly, Taiwan's chip factories stop production. At first, nothing changes. Phones still work, cars still drive, servers still run. But semiconductor supply chains operate months in advance. Inventory begins disappearing quickly. Within weeks, electronics manufacturing slows. Within months, production lines shut down. Smartphone releases stall. Laptop production collapses. But something much bigger breaks next. The automotive industry. Modern cars use hundreds of chips. Electric vehicles use thousands. During the 2021 chip shortage, car production dropped by millions. That shortage was small compared to what this would be. Factories would close across continents. Workers would be sent home. But the deeper shock would arrive in the digital economy. Cloud infrastructure depends heavily on advanced processors. Companies like Amazon, Google, and Microsoft build massive data centers powered by advanced chips. Without new processors, expansion stops. AI development slows dramatically. Supercomputer projects stall. Military technology programs face delays. and the economic impact becomes enormous. Entire industries depend on continuous chip improvement. Smartphones, autonomous vehicles, robotics, artificial intelligence, all slow down. Global GDP could drop by trillions. But the geopolitical consequences might be even larger, because semiconductor production is now a strategic weapon. Semiconductors are the oil of the digital age. Control the chips, control the future. That is why countries are racing to build their own factories. The United States passed the Chips and Science Act. Europe launched its European Chips Act. China is investing hundreds of billions into domestic chip production. But here's the problem. Building an advanced chip ecosystem takes decades. TSMC spent more than 35 years perfecting its manufacturing process. And even today, only a few facilities on Earth can produce the most advanced chips. So if Taiwan's factories suddenly stopped, replacing that capacity could take years. During that time, global technological progress would slow dramatically. Entire industries would pause. Economic growth would stall. And geopolitical tensions could escalate rapidly. But the most surprising truth is this. The world already knows about this vulnerability. And yet the system continues operating exactly the same way. Because rebuilding it somewhere else is incredibly difficult. Which means, right now, modern civilization quietly depends on a few buildings on one island. And that might be the most dangerous bottleneck in the global economy.